So what's the book about? You can answer this question at 3 levels. At one level, it's a story about my own personal life and all of these crazy things that were happening, like my family members going to prison and having homicidal fantasies about my stepfather and trying to figure out all the crazy relationships between men and women and why I was so bad at them.
As a rebellious teenager, expelled from one school after another, Doug-Kenrick first seemed to be following in his father's footsteps, straight to a prison cell in Sing Sing. But he escapes his hard-drinking, fist-fighting, shantytown Irish family, fleeing New York to study psychology on the other side of the continent. There, his troublemaking inclinations continue as he joins a group of intellectual revolutionaries, throwing firebombs at psychology's ruling establishment.
At another level, it's about the science, because what I did is went into psychology and began to study those kinds of questions about everyday life and the crazy stuff going on inside our heads, and tried to probe into that from an evolutionary perspective.
Opening a forbidden window onto the animalistic underside of human nature, he investigates a series of taboo topics: homicidal fantasies, sexual infidelity, and old men lusting after younger women. The topics share a common theme, that underneath our civilized veneer, human beings are more like howling hyenas and barking baboons than we like to think, full of self-centered, violent, and sexual instincts.
The male will build a bubble nest, then you drop a female in, and if she's ready, having eggs, they'll engage in this automatic pattern, they'll start spreading their fins, they'll swim around one another, this elaborate mating dance. And it happens automatically, it's definitely instinctive, because it happens in males raised in isolation. And it kind of, to tell you the truth, reminded me of my own automatic and uncontrollable responses to the Italian girls in my neighborhood in Queens.
For over 20 years, social psychologist Lundberg-Kenrick from Arizona State University has been trying to crack the code of how couples end up together.
Although intellectual rebellion eventually leads to success in his academic career, his personal life remains a shantytown mess. Then, one day, he realizes that years of studying life in the gutter have given him a glimpse of the stars and an answer to the question, what is the meaning of life?
The question, what's the meaning of life? You can answer that at 2 levels. At one level, how does it all fit together? And that's something we've gotten a good answer. Putting together all these different ideas, we actually do have a much better sense of where we fit into the universe and what it is that drives human behavior, that leads us to make the kinds of decisions we make. Even the crazy things that seem kind of biased, in an evolutionary perspective, they make sense to us. There's another kind of way of framing that, though. When people ask, what's the meaning of life? They're sometimes also asking the question of, how can I live a more meaningful life? And it turns out that the researchers who've been studying evolution and behavior, we have quite a bit to say about that.
This is a true story about sex, violence, scientific revolution, and family love.